Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad because today I have a person who I think is, above all, the kindest, most humble, and probably one of the more affable people in the Salesforce ecosystem that I know of. And it just so happens that I am fortunately in Jaipur at OneShiv's office, and I'm talking with the CEO and founder of OneShiv, Gaurav Kheterpal. I don't think he needs an introduction, but in the interest of doing so, I'm going to ask him to quickly introduce himself. Go ahead, God.
Thank you, Saurabh, for the kind words, and it's a pleasure. It's our pleasure to host you here. Um, I'll not take too much time, but yeah, I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a fairly long time, about 18 years, and I run this small Salesforce consulting company called Manchiv. We're a summit tier partner, clients in multiple countries, focused on solving classical AI data and CRM problems with AI. So, yeah, looking forward to our discussion.
Absolutely. So, Gaurav, obviously, you've been doing these things for a long, long time, and you have a lot of deep vertical experience. And I know OneShift has been pretty active in certain industries, notably financial services, retail, public sector, and others. When you think about the whole evolution of AI and what the customers are doing today, what are you seeing, both in terms of the challenges and in terms of the success stories, what those customers are doing that are succeeding with AI?
Yeah. So, I mean, the kind of industries that we work in, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, uh, AI has, I mean, it's been a mixed bag, I would say, because financial services, it's a very sensitive industry. There are a lot of compliances involved. Every time you use the word AI, like there is the second word that you hear is compliance. Is it going to cause problems for us? Like, how do you ensure like it's responsible AI and things like that? And then the problem with public sector is that it's generationally like a little bit behind always, like because the decision cycles are so long. But I think the good thing is at least this year we have seen like both in financial services as well as public sector, there is definitely a lot more conversation happening around AI as compared to like earlier years. And it's no longer like just like a nice to have feature. They understand that it's fundamentally changing how applications are built, how applications are used, and that's what we are trying to do as part of our strategy as well. As compared to that, like when it comes to like faster moving domains like commerce, we are seeing really good adoption. So overall I would say it's a mixed bag. Some verticals are moving really fast, some not so much.
I would tend to agree, and also the sort of uh, priority around compliance, security, trust, and things like that. Uh, when you think about financial services and some of these regulated sector customers, are there specific areas that OneShift is doing things in that you would say are, it has given you a unique perspective and experience to address these?
Yeah, I would say we understand financial services as a domain really well. I mean, even before FSC was kind of formally launched by Salesforce, I had experience in building custom applications on Salesforce for financial services. So that domain experience has helped us. And then within financial services, we do wealth, we do insurance, we do investment banking. We have worked with credit unions as well. So I think all of that collectively has given us like a good advantage. Sometimes the challenge we face again due to regulation is that they don't want to work with like maybe entirely offshore teams or some other kind of geographical barriers. But when it comes to the domain and when it comes to technology, I think we have done some really good work there. And the hope is that we'll continue doing that and also leverage AI as part of our offerings.
Absolutely, and amen to that. I think you guys will continue to do that. Interestingly, some of our earlier customers for GPT-5 were in financial services, and I think what you see is one, there is a lot of adoption of Salesforce as a platform in FinServe, particularly retail banking, credit unions, wealth management. A lot of these kind of sectors are pretty invested in it. And I think the other thing is a lot of those check boxes are already checked, like when you think about encryption at rest, like shield and things like that. So it becomes a very logical distribution point for a lot of customers in these sectors to embrace AI. And what we found was that they all really want to do a bring your own model with their own kind of AI infrastructure, and that works really well for us. We are 100% BYOM anyways. The thing that I'm curious is, what were some of the indicators from a success perspective that you saw with customers who've done very well with adopting AI, particularly for Salesforce? And any advice or insights you want to share, that would be great.
Yeah, I think we have done a lot of agent force implementations as well. Like initially, like it was very difficult for customers to kind of even try things out. But I think over the last 6 months, things have improved significantly. We have done one in ed tech. Another one was like financial services. Generally, our approach has been like we start off with like a proof of concept, or let's show you what the art of the possible with agent force or with Salesforce AI. And I think the most important thing which has worked well for us is setting clear expectations. This is what AI or agent force will do for you. It is not a magic wand which will solve all your business problems. And as long as they have that clarity, because if they are investing into AI, if they are buying additional licenses, or if they are buying like a Gemini or a Chat GPT or any other subscription for that matter, they also need to understand the risks, but also what is possible and what is not possible as well. And we have been very assertive in our like in our messaging that these are the things that this will solve. This is what it will probably not do.
True, true. I think it's a really good point. And I know Vanshi has been pretty active in the data cloud space as well. Can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing there?
Yeah, so we actually work with a couple of the two largest data lake providers, Snowflake and Databricks. We are a partner for both these as well. And again, we've had customers where there was a classical need. Okay, I have my data in Databricks or I have my data in Snowflake. How do I surface this in Salesforce, and how do I derive some analytics, or how do I take actions based on that? That's where our data cloud journey started. This was like when it was CDP, and the product has been evolving since then, as you know. Off late, our focus is like most of the data cloud implementations that we have done have some flavor of agent force to it as well. So it's no longer like just data cloud, but a lot of it is now a combination of data cloud plus agent force.
True, true. Yeah, I actually think that, I mean, we integrate with Snowflake, and some of our customers are huge Snowflake customers. And it almost always comes up like, I've already invested in data infrastructure. So why do I need to go buy yet another data related product? Do you hear that? And how do you address that objection if it comes up?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it depends on like we've had customers who have been like very clear that they. I think it's all about education. I think as long as you make the customer understand that this is the right architecture, because data cloud, you can do things with data cloud. You can also do things. There are multiple ways, so you can avoid data cloud completely. You can have like a middleware and an orchestration layer, and then you can surface that data. There are multiple other tools which do that as well. So at the end of the day, it's all about like making sure the customer understands the value proposition, and whatever they spend with data cloud, like how do you justify that? As long as that is clear, then I think it's an easier sell.
True, true. Very well put. So, kind of switching gears a little bit, Gaurav, you mentioned that you've been working with Google Gemini as well, and it's a very interesting area to me, also because we do a lot of integration of Einstein chatbot and GPT-5. And when we initially started doing that about 2 years ago, when our first customer went live with this very sort of agent force like experience for customer support, we used Gemini and Dialogflow because I think those were, at that time, those were the most mature technology to do
Yeah.
conversational interfaces for support. And since that time, obviously, OpenAI has come in with Response API, and I mean, Anthropic Claude will allow you to do that too. So there's a lot more that's happened. But I'm very curious to hear from your standpoint. What are you seeing with Google Gemini, and what are some of the success stories
Mhm. Yeah,
that
so
you guys?
apart from Salesforce, like we actually have a fairly large full stack team. We do a lot of work on, especially around the GCP stack. We also do work on AWS, Microsoft not so much, but others we do a lot of work. And then it's also across industries as well. Like we have one customer which is EdTech, fairly large EdTech in India, based on higher education. Then a couple of clients based on like hospitality and the other one is healthcare, insurance, specifically health insurance. And they are a little bit more receptive to AI than some of the other segments that we've talked about. So we've had like really good success, especially with Gemini. Like personally, I am a big fan. I think Google was a little bit behind in the AI race as compared to OpenAI. But the kind of advancements that Gemini has brought in especially in the last 6 months, I think they will leapfrog OpenAI pretty soon. And again, one of the other areas which is personally my interest is multimodal agents. So I think text agents are great, but agents which are like voice agent, I follow a company called 11 Labs, which is doing a breadth, like I mean, revolutionary work in the voice agent space. I've played around a lot with their solutions, and I genuinely believe like we are not too far away from the time when you would actually have voice agents call humans, and you would not be able to determine if that's actually a voice agent or a human calling you. So for me, that is a very exciting area. And then also like all these tools which are around image generation, video generation, there's a lot of possibilities, especially in areas like tech and other domains as well, where if you need to like create some sort of content, whether it's image, whether it's video, whether it's audio based on prompt, I think those will be kind of futuristic as well.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you talked about multimodal. So about 2 weeks ago, I think our release that came out is fully agentic, and we now do support multimodal. So you can literally like make a phone call and you can talk to
Great.
talk to AI, which in turn is talking with Salesforce data. You can open a case, track orders, do that kind of stuff. It's also connected to RAG, so you can ask questions and it'll pull through knowledge base and do that. The beauty is it's such an incremental approach, right? If you build that foundation from a data and knowledge base perspective, and you're today exposing it through chatbots, now literally, within like less than a week, our customers can expose it through telephony, through WhatsApp, and things like that. And I completely agree. I think particularly in support, the face of customer support is going to change so much, where if you want to text, you can, or you can just pick up the phone and call, and it's going to be multilingual. If it's on something like WhatsApp, which our business number, WhatsApp business number, is now connected with AI, and you can ask questions. It's like almost free, right? I can be international calling, a US number on WhatsApp and having a conversation in Hindi or French or Spanish or Arabic, and and get answers. Like, what an incredible new world it's unleashing.
Absolutely. I have no doubt, like voice agents, especially like, and again, if you can kind of surface them on channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, even Instagram for that matter, I think that will be a massive game changer. So,
True, true. And the other thing that I'm finding is that, because of these sort of agentic, capabilities, like essentially for us, it's just like one unified endpoint, right? GPT-5 hosted on Salesforce got one unified endpoint. And we're just turning on channels for connecting with Microsoft Teams, Copilot, Slack, WhatsApp, WeChat, whatever it is that companies want to use. And if you're a global company, EdTech, as you mentioned, is one. Like, we have some a very large EdTech customer who's very interested in doing these things, and that industry in particular needs to have like multilingual support, right? Like if you were a university getting students from China, India, places in Europe, you do want to give them support without them waiting to call when it's daytime in United States, right?
absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the, again, that's a big advantage. Like localization, internationalization. I think that's all very easy with AI offerings. So I think that's a massive advantage. And again, it takes what I classically call as human in the loop out of the equation. Like you don't need a translator, you don't need a another engine doing translations for you. It's all baked in. So yeah.
Correct. And to your point, right? Like Gemini has got like 95 plus languages. It speaks 95 plus languages.
Yeah.
We went to Dreamforce, and I was coming back in an Uber, and the driver was from Uzbekistan.
Uh-huh.
And I actually called that GPT-5 WhatsApp number. And I said, I asked it to tell me about data in account data in Salesforce in Uzbek, and it did. And this guy was just like blown away. And I asked him, like, did it actually tell you correctly? And he said it did really well. Said it did have a bit of an American accent, but it did very well outside of that, which is incredible. How many people will get access? How many people will get enabled? And how many companies will legitimately offer both support, better support, and at lower cost, right? Are you guys, do you, is Vanship doing a lot of work in customer support automation with AI?
A little bit, I would say. Like some of the customers have kind of onboarded like the notion of AI in service, but we also have a lot of like L1 support that we do for US customers, which is still manual. Again, I think there is ongoing work to kind of make sure that it's a gradual transformation. Like we start introducing elements of AI to kind of solve the easier problems first, and then kind of like go to the more difficult issues. But it's a mix, I would say. Like some customers we have purely manual support, some have an element of AI as well. But I agree with you 100%. Like service is probably the first industry that I think would be disrupted by AI, and it's already happening. Like we have seen, like Amazon has kind of let go of so many people. Whenever you call Amazon, like it's an agent which actually answers your call by default until they transfer it to a human as needed. So
True, true. That's a very good point. You know, talking about, humans and the impact of AI on people, how, and I know that a ton of people look up to you. So I think you're one of those people. I definitely wanted to ask this question. What kind of advice would you give to folks who are either practicing Salesforce professional and looking at AI, or someone who's just starting to build their career and they're like, hey, how do I benefit from AI?
yeah, so I think like again, I personally, like as I said, I'm very excited on the prospect specifically around AI agent development, and I always encourage people, like even within Manchiv and outside as well. Today I took 3 interviews. One of the common questions I ask is, what do you know in AI, or what tools are you using in AI? So I think it's no longer an optional skill for developers. I think they have to kind of learn things like agent force vibes. It's fairly new, but like any Salesforce developer who tries that, they will understand how much kind of donkey work it takes out of the development. Obviously there is a human review involved as well, and that is mandatory. But I think AI is so. My advice is usually like it's not something which is a fad or which is something which will go away. And again, I think both of us are kind of old enough. Like we've seen the industry for about 25 years, Y2K, dot-com boom, so many other phases, and which were kind of when AI was kind of. A lot of people say it's a fad which will go away. The MIT report did not help either, but I am personally very bullish that it's here to stay, and people who learn AI and who leverage AI really well will not only survive, but they will also flourish. And that's where I actually admire the work that you are doing with GPT-5. You are early mover in this space, and I'm hoping that you're kind of getting the benefits out of that as well. So
We are, and thank you for saying that. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's obviously no longer optional, and I am constantly surprised by how many people are still not realizing the potential of it. And the thing that I find interesting, again, back to your point, is like we've seen these waves, social, mobile, blockchain, like microservices, cloud, and now AI. But in more ways than one, AI is a completely different uh, kind of capability. Like it's something that, at least in my lifetime, I have not seen. historically I've not seen a technology as revolutionary as AI can be.
Yeah, it's very fundamental. I would say it's like habit changing, which is not the case with any other technology that we have seen so far. Whether you are a consumer of like of AI, which is like just using Chat GPT, regardless of the profession you are in, or you are building AI applications. I think again, it's I completely agree. I mean, it's as long as companies who build solutions can justify the ROI on it. I think there's a lot of opportunity in this space. So.
True, true. So, Gaurav, can you talk maybe a little bit about your journey with Vanshiv and prior to that, and as an entrepreneur, the challenges? Because I know you and I have sort of a similar track. Like we did a couple of jobs in our careers, and at some point we transitioned over. Maybe
Yeah.
I think it would be great to hear about a little bit about your journey, the challenges, and any advice you have for people out there.
Yeah, so I actually started one shift quite late. I mean, I started when I was 45. This was January 2023. So we are coming up on 3 years. Um, and honestly, I mean, I was in very comfortable C-level roles. I was working and growing other organizations. And then I think at some stage, the corporate politics got to me, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm done with all of this, and let me try this. And for a couple of years, if it doesn't work out, I can always find another job. I'm still very hands on. So that was the initial plan and the plan B. Thankfully, things have worked out really well. So we are over about 120 people now. We are a summit tier partner. Our work in Salesforce is well known, but as I said, we also work. We have a very mature full stack practice. We do product engineering for startups in edtech, healthcare, insurance, and other domains as well. And yeah, it's a journey which has been very satisfying, but also very challenging. But it's been worth it. I mean, like as an entrepreneur, as a founder, like I would say it's a very gratifying journey, but at the same time, it makes me very nervous. There are days when I'm very very nervous, especially when it's around payroll and whenever we have big releases coming up. But I think it's a part of the journey. So like there are ups, there are downs, and there are moments that you enjoy, and there are times when you just want to hide and nobody should see you. So I think I have been through that, and I'm pretty sure like it's very similar for you as well. But I personally, I don't regret the decision. Like we are in a good spot. We are growing. The plan is to continue to grow, and more than that, I think again, I always tell the team as well. Like we need to build solutions which are solving real problems. So hopefully that will continue to be the focus, and we'll see how things go.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. Any advice for people who are where we were, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and were contemplating switching jobs, given the economic climate or the disruption?
I would say I think the same thing which I said earlier. I think build your hands-on skills. I think the time for jobs like project management, even manual QA, anything which is not fundamentally hands-on, I think is now going to have a limited shelf life. Like I always tell our QA team that manual QA jobs will not exist beyond the next couple of years. They need to learn robotic testing. They need to learn automation testing. And similarly, if you are a project manager, like classical project management skills, knowing Jira is not enough. You need to know the latest and greatest AI based tools for project management, and you need to do things smartly. So yeah, the only advice I would give is, even if regardless of whether you are switching a job or starting off on your own, is if you're hands on, that's a massive advantage that you come with. And again, I think that would help you in the journey.
True, well said. I would agree. I think the other thing, back to your point of, you made the transition pretty late in your career. I actually, that timeline is startingly similar for me to, I was at Salesforce, things were great, and there's
Yeah.
really no compelling reason other than, I felt like I could probably do more than what I was doing. And if somebody asks for my advice, I would tell them very similar things. You want to be sure that you're bringing something to the table beyond a PowerPoint deck. Like it's great to have ideas. It's great to try and convince people that, you're for real. But at the end of the day, businesses run by moving, things an inch forward and solve real world problems, which is going to take blood, sweat, and tears. It's not an easy journey. It's not a job, but frankly, I would not trade it for anything in the world. And I think you're probably the same way.
Absolutely. Yeah, as I said, it's a very gratifying journey, and it has its own challenges. So if you're up for it, yeah, do it. If you think you need an easy life, then it's definitely not worth considering. So
For sure, for sure. So one other thing you mentioned earlier was around robotic testing, which is interesting because we actually are also a Copado robotic testing customer ourselves. Our
mhm.
QA runs a lot of robotic testing, and I know that you've been quite actively engaged with Copado. So maybe tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing in that space and where is
Yeah.
one should head with that.
Like again, I have joined Copado as a chief evangelist. My charter is to kind of help drive the community initiatives. Copado community is well over 100,000 people. A lot of these people are in India. And we've already done a number of initiatives. Like there was an event called Copado Con in September in Bangalore. We're actually bringing that to Jaipur in December, 13th of December. We have just finished our certification drive where we offered free vouchers, including Copado robotic testing. The numbers there were like absolutely mind-boggling. Like initially, we thought, okay, maybe if we get 500 people certified or 500 certifications, that will be a massive achievement. We went into the last day at about 1,500 odd certifications, and we ended the certification drive at 3,200 certifications, which I think shows a clear appetite for people learning these new skills. And it was only for a limited period of time, and we will continue to kind of drive more of these community initiatives with Copado. What we are also doing is building a regional headquarters for Copado in Jaipur, and it will be like a world-class engineering facility. And Copado has not had an office here, so like it's a place where their teams can meet, customers can visit, and yeah, I think exciting times. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Wow, 3,200 people certified. Very, very cool. I think our team needs to get certified in the December drive. uh, Gaurav, I know you mentioned about Jaipur, and I know how passionate you are about the ecosystem here, and I see all your posts, and it is very inspiring and incredible to see that. What's happening here in Jaipur in the next couple of months, and any advice for people or anything you would like to talk about coming to Jaipur?
Yeah, so I am like 100% Jaipuri. I was born here, brought up here. I always say born here, brought up here, schooled here, married here, kids here. So it's an integral part of my life. I moved back in 2007, and then it's already been 18 years. And again, I plan to live here for the rest of my life as well. I think the ecosystem here has matured like tremendously in the last few years, and Salesforce has actually played a huge role. I coined this term called Jaipur is the Salesforce capital of India a few years back, and it's now very well known. Like everybody knows, like there are more than 100 Salesforce partners here. Probably one of the reasons your team is also here as well. Like a lot of good talent available. People are loyal. It's a small city, good quality of life. You don't have the problems of a Delhi or a Bangalore. And I think now we are also seeing like the government support as well. So there is an event called Rising Rajasthan where a lot of initiatives were announced. We have a new data policy for the state. We have a world class data center in Jaipur. We have a very, very nice convention center as well. So a lot of things happening in the right direction, but I still feel like more can be done. So yeah, I mean, next 5 years, I really think Jaipur will come of age. It will start giving some of the tier one cities a run for their money when it comes to technology industry.
Yeah, I like to think of Jaipur as this, sort of the, the hidden secret. I really don't want a lot of people to come here. And you're right, our engineering is based here. I really like the culture. There is warmth, there is affection, there is a softness. Like even the hotel I'm at, people are very kind, very caring. They would go out of their way to make you, feel at home, which is incredible. And I think from a software perspective, I have no idea how it happened, but it has definitely happened. I like there is so much talent in Jaipur in the software space, particularly for Salesforce. That our the joke internally in our team is that we look for five qualities. One of them is this person in Jaipur. So I definitely see that, and it's incredible what you've done there, Gaurav, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to talk here and what you guys are doing. Kudos and wish you very, very all the best for OneShiv and the growth for it.
No, thank you. And likewise, I think you're doing phenomenal work at GPT-5 and wish you a fulfilling journey ahead as well. So, and thank you for having me on this.
And thank you for having me in the OneShiv office. So, for everyone on the call, thank you for joining us and tuning in. And obviously, you can reach out to Gaurav. His LinkedIn is, I think it's probably more well known than anybody else I know in the Salesforce ecosystem. And you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well for any questions or comments you may have. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Gaurav.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.